guys, welcome back to the channel. We are in the Tahoe. I told you guys I was going to do a Tahoe video, so here it is. And what I am doing this evening after work is I'm going to put some miles on the Tahoe and mess with the fueling. I've got a few fueling issues with tip-in and decel and stuff like that. And what I'm doing is I'm logging the O2 sensors and then going in and making changes to the VE table and stuff like that using HP tuners. So after I put the blower on this truck, we didn't have time to drive it on the street, and it was raining all the time and stuff like that. So I'm going to attempt to do this stuff myself. So basically how this works is you drive the truck and you log it, and then you can go back and look at your log and see your map sensor and your TPS, your spark, your O2 sensors, RPM, injector duty cycle. You can see all sorts of stuff. And what I'm doing is I'm monitoring what the truck is doing and where I need to add and subtract fuel. So if you look down at the bottom of the screen, these are my short-term fuel trims. So right now the truck is adding 5%, 2%, 4% of fuel on both banks. So if you look up at your map sensor and your RPM, you can see where you need to add a little bit of fuel to get these closer to zero. But if you watch, when I go to take off, it lean spikes a little bit. So what I'm doing is just driving around and logging that to see where I need to make changes. Something else that you guys will notice while I'm driving is my oil pressure. So I just replaced the oil pump in this. I did that last weekend actually, because every once in a while when I would start the truck, it would take it about 5 or 6 seconds to build oil pressure. And what I ended up finding is the O-ring had gotten really hard, and I think what was happening is the pump was losing its prime. So all the oil would leak back out of the pump, and it would take it a second to build back up when I would crank it up in the morning. So once it was running, it was fine, you know, no problems at all. Oh, there's a little bit of a stumble. So now I have all of the oil pressure. Right now it's at 60 at a hot idle. So real happy about that. I used a Melling high volume, high pressure pump, and it's behaving so far. I've got Mobile 1 in it, 5W30. And yeah, so we're just gonna drive this thing down the road a little bit and take some logs, and then we'll make some changes. So we made our first stop here. We're in a school parking lot, and what I'm going to do now is go back through my log and kind of look and see what the fueling was doing as I was driving it. So you can see right here, RPM starts to increase, map starts to increase as we go into the throttle, and you can see it starts to add a bunch of fuel right here. So up to 18–19%. So what I need to do is note my RPM, which is 1740, let's say, and my map, which is 71. Next thing we have to do is go over into my tune and move some stuff around. Now I am in no means a tuner. Ryan, the owner up at RPM, kind of gave me an idea of what I needed to do to kind of get the drivability a little bit better. So I'm just going to go in here and make small changes, but what I've done is I saved my base file in case I screw something up. Then he can come back in and fix what I've messed with. But I've got nothing going on tonight, so I'm going to goof around here a little bit. So what I did here is I added 2% of fuel where it was lean, and then I kind of blended the table together. Now I also have a boost enrichment table here, and what this does is as it starts to see boost, it will start to add fuel. So you can see at 110 kPa it starts to add 22% of fuel all the way across the board. Now once I've made my changes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this file under a different name, which is now Jeff Short LSA Tahoe tip-in. So we'll save it, turn the key on the truck, and then we'll write this in. Alright, now that the write is complete, We'll close this, minimize our tuning software. Don't mind that, the guys at the shop like to make fun of me. We'll go back in here, reconnect to our vehicle, start a log and fire it back up and drive it some more. Now you can see what's happening right now is the O2 sensors are starting to warm up. And once they do, our short trims will start reading again. There they go. So already adding that fuel and tip in, the truck already feels a lot more responsive on the throttle pedal. Something else that I'm doing as I'm driving is I'm trying to feel the transmission out and see if it needs to shift firmer or soft or when it shifts. So far everything with the transmission has been great, and HP tuners will also log that at the same time. So yeah, that tip-in feels good, so I think we're all right there. But just trying to make sure that this thing drives good and doesn't stall when you roll up to a stoplight and stuff like that. That's the most, annoying thing, is when you're driving something high performance and you can't drive it like you would a normal car. It's great to go wide open and that's always fun, but if you can't go out and cruise the thing, it's no fun at all. Alright, so I made another stop and I'm going to go back through the log again and see where I need to add and take away fuel, which it actually drove really well that time, so I don't know if I'm going to mess with it too much. So this is 83, 84, 85 kPa. So what we'll do is we'll go back over to our tune and go into our VE table and see if we can make some more adjustments around that. So here's our 80 line. And the map sensor's 85. RPM is almost 2,000. So from like 2,000 down it needs to change a little bit. So what I think I'll do is I'll grab these cells right here, go to here, and we'll add 2% throughout here. So 1.02, and that looks better. Okay, we're on the side of the road again, and I have another log here that I need to look at where I was actually pulling a bunch of fuel out, and that was right when the converter locked up in 4th gear. So you can see the map is a little higher because it's under more load, so 114, but it's too rich, so 28%. The most it can pull is 30, and there it's reading 35, 36. So what I need to do is go back into my main VE and pull some fuel out around here. Every time I write a tune in, it takes about 20 to 30 seconds. Alright, so what just happened there is the truck's looking for the mass airflow sensor, and after you write a tune in, every once in a while, it takes it a few key cycles to fail the mass airflow. Since I don't have one, it has to be failed in order to trip over into speed density, which it's still mad about, so we'll start it again. Alright, so I've made some more changes to the tune. I'm going to drive this thing the rest of the way home and then we'll finish up the video there. I'm going to leave as soon as my O2 sensors start reading again. Alright, so I'm back home at the shop. I made a few more little changes to the tune while I was driving it. I'm not going to make any more until I have Ryan look at it and make sure that I'm not totally screwing something up. but that's why you always save the base file first. And like I said, I know almost nothing about tuning, so this is just little stuff he taught me today that I can go out and try to make the drivability a little bit better. So it drives really good right now. I just, like I said, want to make sure that he thinks it's okay, and you know, that I didn't add too much fuel somewhere or take too much away, and that the table isn't like really skewed one way or another. So I think the Tahoe is good to go. I'm ready to start beating on it. The belt has been acting right. The oil pressure is good. It hasn't been smoking. The tune is looking good. I think I'm all ready for the call out. At least I hope I am. And don't forget, guys, June 23rd, Galop Motorsports Park here in North Carolina, Benson. And we'll all be there. We're going to have a bunch of cars there, and we're going to have a lot of fun. I will be there all day. So come see me, say hi. Don't forget, High PSI TV t-shirts are in the description below. Thank you for watching.